It can be pleasant to reminisce about the good old days, to listen to songs that are associated with happy memories, or to revisit movies that you loved as a kid. Evoland aims to trigger a nostalgic reverie around games, and if you've played the games it references, early Legend of Zelda games, older Final Fantasies, Diablo, and others, it will bring warm memories flooding back. What Evoland fails to do, though, is to fashion these throwbacks to older games into a game that's worth playing for its own sake. Establishing no real identity of its own, Evoland is content to just trot out its references and make you think of other, better games. As its name implies, Evoland's core conceit is that it evolves frequently, particularly in terms of its visuals and its gameplay. As you guide your hero around, you open chests that change the gameplay and the world. But though the chests laid out in your path bring new monsters and new weapons to the land of Evoland, the gameplay of these sections never advances past offering hack-and-slash combat, environmental exploration, and puzzle solving of the most rudimentary. It tries to recall games like the original The Legend of Zelda, but while it reminds you of that game, it doesn't have any of Zelda's magic. The basic combat here isn't a way for you to overcome dangers in a fascinating world whose landscape you must explore and conquer on your own. It's simply there to remind you of games in which that is what the combat was for. Your journey soon takes you out onto an overworld map, where your travels are frequently interrupted by random encounters. These battles require no thought. You simply select your attack command until all your foes have been defeated. Early on, your hero, Clink, is joined by a woman named Karis. Do these names sound familiar? Karis enlists your help to recover a crystal and save her village, but don't expect much plot development here. Like everything else about Evoland, the story is as generic as they come. That may be the point, but it doesn't make Evoland itself any richer. Nor do Karis's healing abilities make the turn-based combat any more complex or engaging. The high rate of random encounters is reminiscent of the games Evoland wants to recall, but here it's only a frustration, reminding you not of how good the games of Days Gone By were, but of why games have largely left this mechanic behind. Most of Evoland's gameplay draws primarily upon early Zelda and Final Fantasy games, but it shifts gears slightly for one dungeon, in which monsters attack you in swarms and drop piles of coins, a la Diablo. A character equipment screen mimics those seen in games of Diablo's ilk, but like so many things about Evoland, it's just a half-hearted imitation. Your enemies drop items which you automatically equip, but although their names call to mind the randomly generated loot of many hack-and-slash RPGs, they're not actually randomly generated, nor do they have any real effect. It's a purely superficial reference. When you couple this with the bare-bones combat in which you can do little but press the attack button until all your enemies are dead, it just makes you wish you were playing one of the better games Evoland is referencing. It only takes a few hours to finish Evoland, but you couldn't call the game too short. Lacking any soul of its own, its trotting out of one reference after another grows tired and predictable well before the credits roll. It's possible for games to be all about celebrating other games and yet still be fun and exciting in their own right. But Evoland doesn't try to surprise you, to subvert your expectations, or even to capture what really made the games it's mimicking so great. It sets out only to remind you of earlier games. To that end, it succeeds, but it's hardly the most heroic of undertakings.